This was disclosed by the Media Information Officer, Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hadinkai, Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba, in a statement. He said in the early hours, troops in collaboration with the Civilian Joint Task Force had engaged terrorists at a non-crossing point along the surgery axis. In a different development, the Nigerian Air Force has sustained intelligence-driven air interdiction operations across the northeast and northwest between January 1 and 2nd, neutralizing terrorist elements and destroying key logistics under operations Hadinkai and Fansanyama. The spokesperson of the Air Force, Air Commando Ehime Edujame, said precision strikes hit terrorist hideouts in Abrema and Chiralia within the Timbuktu Triangle, destroying IED facilities and triggering secondary explosions linked to explosive stockpiles. For the strikes in the Mandara Mountains and Katsina State targeted terrorist convoys and assembly points, resulting in the neutralization of fighters, destruction of motorcycles, and recovery of weapons. Benue State's Police Public Relations Officer, DSP Edetu Deme, has confirmed a fire incident at the Police Mobile Force facility in the state, which destroyed officers and the armory. A video obtained by Global Television News shows the facility engulfed in flames with sections of the complex reduced to ashes. While the police have confirmed the incident, the exact cause of the fire is yet to be disclosed as investigations are ongoing. In the footage, a distressed voice is heard describing the scale of the destruction, stating that the armory was completely consumed by the blaze. The narrator also claims that the squadron commander's office was affected by the inferno, with nearly all items within the facility destroyed.
This is Moko 13 office that got burnt this morning, early this morning. This is the armory, everything burnt. Oh boy, why they run again? Yeah? Oh boy. Over 13 armory got burned this morning. Even the squadron commander office. Hey. Wonderful, wonderful shall never end. Wonderful shall never end. Oh boy. Wow.
Evidently quite a significant amount of damage there. The National Association of Resident Doctors says it will resume its total indefinite and complete strike from 12 midnight on Monday, January 12, citing the federal government's failure to fully implement a previously signed memorandum of understanding. The association said the action, tagged "No Implementation, No Going Back," will include center-based protests across hospitals and press briefings by leaders of its 91 centers following resolutions from an emergency National Executive Council meeting. The association warned the strike will only end after government meets outstanding demands, including salary and promotion arrears, reinstatement of dismissed doctors, and full implementation of professional and specialist allowances. The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Patse, says the federal government has administered over 25 million doses of measles vaccine and 22 million yellow fever vaccinations nationwide. The minister disclosed these on his official X handle, highlighting significant gains recorded in immunization coverage and preventive healthcare delivery across the country. Beyond measles and yellow fever, he said 5 million children had received the pentavalent vaccine, while over 10 million Nigerians were vaccinated with the tetanus diphtheria vaccine through the nationwide diphtheria response. The federal government has formally withdrawn the criminal defamation case it filed against Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan last year. This decision brought to an end what many consider a high-profile prosecution that attracted nationwide attention and stirred intense political debate. Certified court documents obtained in Abuja indicate that the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation filed a notice of discontinuance before the Federal High Court Abuja Judicial Division, thereby terminating the criminal proceedings against the senator representing Kogi Central. The suit filed in the name of the Federal Republic of Nigeria was sequel to petitions submitted by the Senate President Godswill Akpabio and former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello. The federal government has intensified efforts to address decades of environmental degradation and pollution-related health challenges in Ogoniland with moves to operationalize the Ogoni Specialist Hospital. The initiative being implemented through the Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project, HYPREP, represents a critical link between environmental remediation and public health recovery in the oil-polluted Niger Delta region. Environment correspondent Ubong Usoro reports.
Ogoniland in Nigeria's Niger Delta is one of the regions most impacted by decades of oil exploration, environmental pollution, and repeated ecological disasters, with lasting consequences for human health and livelihood. As part of government environmental justice efforts, the Technical Planning Committee on the Operationalization of the Ogoni Specialist Hospital has submitted its report to the Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project, HYPREP, at the Project Coordination Office in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. The committee comprises seasoned health professionals drawn from within and outside Ogoniland. Their mandate was to develop a comprehensive and environmental responsive operational framework to ensure the sustainable running of the hospital upon completion. Chairperson of the Technical Planning Committee, Christy Mato, says the establishment of the Ogoni Specialist Hospital is a direct response to the long-term health impact of environmental pollution resulting from years of oil exploration in Ogoniland.
Ogoniland, like we know, has been exposed to prolonged oil contamination that has limited water sources, soil, and air. The consequences have caused a complex mix of direct environmental poisoning and socio-economic issues.
Project coordinator of HYPREP, Nedi Barini Zabi, disclosed that the construction of the Ogoni Specialist Hospital has reached 78.2% completion, noting that the technical committee was established to provide a clear and sustainable operational pathway for the facility.
The Ogoni Specialist Hospital is a central component of the multi-layered public health interventions being implemented by HYPREP in Ogoniland.
Zabi added that when completed, the Ogoni Specialist Hospital will serve as a federal government-driven referral hub, providing specialized healthcare services reducing dependence on distant urban hospitals, and strengthening environmental and public health resilience in the region. The federal government says the project represents a deliberate policy step in linking environmental cleanup with public health recovery, as Ogoniland continues on a path of environmental restoration, health rehabilitation, and improved quality of life. Ubong Osoro for Global Television News.
The chairman of the All Progressives Congress Volunteer Group in Kano State, Usman Alhaji, has assured President Bola Tinubu that the state will deliver 500,000 votes in the 2027 general elections. He gave the assurance during a strategic meeting with party volunteers drawn from all the four local government areas of the state. Party stakeholders at the gathering also expressed support for ongoing efforts to persuade Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf to join the APC. Global TV correspondent Idris Jibrin reports.
These are members of the APC volunteer group led by former secretary to the state government, Alhaji Usman Alhaji. The meeting is part of preparation ahead of the 2027 general elections and to reinforce Kano's political unity behind President Tinubu. He says the goal is to consolidate support across the state and mobilize at least 500,000 votes for the president. He also welcomed the ongoing political consultations aimed at bringing Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf into the APC, describing it as a move in the best interest of the people.
Today, the purpose of this gathering is our annual meeting where we invite representatives from the 44 local governments of Kano State. And we get together. Today's theme and the objective is to promote unity of APC in Kano State and of course to therefore promote the chances of winning the 2027 general election. We are lucky the governor of Kano State has announced his intention to come into the APC fold. This also makes the theme today much more important: unity and victory. So
stakeholders at the meeting emphasized the need for total loyalty and cooperation from members at all levels, ward, local government and state, to strengthen the party's structure.
I wouldn't mind if I have a job to lose for Kano people to triumph. I wouldn't mind if I have a job to lose. I wouldn't mind to lose if the governor comes on board, if Kano will remain peaceful, Kano will remain united. Kano will continue to be at the lead of Nigeria's democracy because we're the biggest democracy today. So I wouldn't mind because I am a popular leader. I'm a leader who leads by example, a leader who believes in the benefit of his own people in the system, not about my personal benefit. And this is what we learned out from our forefathers.
His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kano State, Abba Kabir Yusuf, is preparing to come to APC. As you know, so many governors, they come to APC in order to have their own chances for the second term. So we are welcoming His Excellency into the party and his entrance, and inshallah we will be able to
For now, all eyes are on whether former governors Abdullahi Umar Ganduje and Rabiu Konkosu can reunite politically to shape Kano's future direction. From Kano, Idris Jibrin, Global Television News.
This is Global Television, and you're watching the live broadcast of the AM News. When the rest of the broadcast returns, depot owners increase petrol price over Dangote refinery plant shutdown. Details coming shortly, plus foreign and sports stories for you on the other side of this break. We urge you to stay with us. Well, thank you so very much for staying with us, everyone. The second part of this news broadcast now returns with business. The House of Representatives has released certified true copies of 4 newly signed tax reform acts following claims of discrepancies in the gazetted versions. Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, in concurrence with Senate President Godswill Akpabio, ordered the release to ensure transparency and restore public confidence in the legislative process. The acts include the Nigeria Tax Act 2025, Nigeria Tax Administration Act 2025, Nigeria Revenue Service Act 2025 and the Joint Revenue Board Act 2025. Several petroleum products depot owners and marketers in Nigeria have increased their ex-depot petrol price over the alleged planned shutdown of Dangote Refinery's petrol units for maintenance and upgrades. A report shows that major depot owners are now selling prices around 800 per litre, up from between 740 naira and 780 naira. This is the case in Ren Oil, Optima, AYM Shafa, and other depots, while Dangote and Atio sold between 702 and 740 naira per litre. And out to the foreign scene, where the United Nations Security Council has welcomed Bahrain, Colombia, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Latvia, and Liberia as new non-permanent members for 2026 to 2027, enhancing regional representation. The DRC returns to the Council after 35 years, pledging to leverage its experience hosting the MONUSCO peacekeeping mission and work toward resolving the conflict with Rwanda-backed M23 rebels in eastern Congo. Liberia joins the Council for the first time since 1961, committing to uphold the UN Charter, build consensus, as well as promote international peace and security alongside Somalia and part of the African group. Venezuela's Supreme Court has appointed Vice President Delcy Rodriguez as interim president following the capture of President Nicolas Maduro by U.S. forces. The court said Rodriguez would assume executive powers to guarantee administrative continuity and national defense amidst the president's forced absence. Mukhtar Kassim has details.
The appointment of an interim president in Venezuela followed the capture of President Nicolas Maduro, who was flown to the United States amid U.S. airstrikes in Caracas. U.S. President Donald Trump announced the operation and outlined plans for a temporary U.S. administration of the country, while Venezuela declared a state of national emergency. Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, were captured in Caracas on Saturday and transported to the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York. They face charges related to drug trafficking, which Maduro has long denied. Venezuelan authorities immediately declared a state of national emergency, condemning the strike as military aggression and demanding proof of life for the president and his wife. Eyewitnesses in Caracas reported explosions, smoke.
Protective gear in the way he is being held by the agent there.
Maduro and his wife, both indicted, gave up and were taken into custody by the Department of Justice.
Trump indicated that U.S. oil companies would repair Venezuela's infrastructure and generate revenue for the country, fueling international debate over the true motives behind the intervention.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition.
The capture of Maduro marks a historic escalation in United States-Venezuela tensions, with the world divided over the legality and ethics of the strike. Venezuelans remain in shock. International bodies are calling for restraint, and Trump's statement continues to dominate the political narrative. As Maduro sits in U.S. custody, the fate of Venezuela's leadership and future stability hangs in the balance, while the international community closely monitors each development. Mukhtar Kassim, reporting for Global Television News.
Let's move to the Middle East now, where Yemeni government troops backed by Saudi Arabia have retaken a series of provinces from the United Arab Emirates-backed secessionist Southern Transitional Council, as tensions between the regional Gulf Arab powers continue to simmer. Rashad Al-Alimi, head of the Presidential Leadership Council, the internationally recognized government in the splintered, war-ravaged nation, said in a statement that Saudi-backed Homeland Shield forces had achieved record success in retaking all military and security positions in the province bordering Saudi Arabia after the operation launched a day earlier. Crucially, the government announced that it had retaken control of Mukalla, the key eastern port and capital of Hadramaut province, from the STC, which seized it last month and which Saudi forces attacked in recent days. Let's get excitement from the world of sport for you. Super Eagles head coach Eric Chili has clarified reasons behind the decision to restrict media access for 3 days leading up to Nigeria's AFCON round of 16 tie against Mozambique. Speaking during a press conference, Chili explained that his job is not just to cut off the national team from the media, but to take care of players and work. He noted that he wanted his players to concentrate as the Super Eagles prepare for the important encounter against members of Mozambique. The Senegal have defeated Sudan 3-1 in Tangiers to book a place in the quarterfinals of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. Teenager Ibrahim Baye scored minutes after coming off the bench, while Pape Gueye netted twice as Senegal overturned an early deficit. And that's how we'll call it a wrap here on the AM News. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV, channel 365, and Star Times, channel 276. We encourage you to follow and engage with us across all social media platforms using Global TV NG. I am Uyi Agmofwegbe. Starting shortly is Global Morning.